Good morning. All right, good morning. I'm seeing us trickle in. We've got 4 people with us. Good morning, Gemma. I'm just going to give everyone a few more moments to join us. We're up to 5. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to be better today and look at the chat. So I'm going to remind you that you do have a chat option, that if you want to type in a message or a question for us, that'd be great. I'm going to ask that we kind of stick to questions and comments. That way it's easier for us to sort through them and not necessarily make any crazy drawings with our typing and things like that. So if you have anything that you need to say or ask, please use that. And I'm going to try to be mindful and purposefully look there more often today than I did yesterday. So I'm going to start like I did yesterday too, and start with our agenda for the day. And so same as yesterday, we're starting with math today together. And then we'll have some time for some specials. So whatever you want to do with PE, kindness, music, or art. We'll have some time for reading. I'm going to kind of touch on that towards the end of our video today, and some directions and some ideas or some pointers for successful reading practice. Lunch 11:30, recess at 12:30, do whatever you want. And then science at 1, and then free choice after that. This is optional. This is not the schedule you have to follow, but it is one that I'm going to follow, and it might help you to kind of have some normalcy with it. So that's our day. And I was really happy to see everyone's participation. Good morning, Emily. Everyone's participation yesterday. I was really excited, and I don't know if you are aware, but I posted and tweeted about you guys. Even some of your Flipgrid videos that you guys made for us. I was really impressed, and I took the time yesterday in that office hour time to respond to those number talks. Good morning, Brian. And I was really impressed. So impressed with some of them that I took a copy of the video and I put 2 of them on my YouTube channel. I can't put your faces on my YouTube channel, but I was able to take 2 that didn't have any faces, and they kind of explained their strategy digitally, and I was really impressed. So if you want to check them out, you can check them out maybe after this and see. I was pretty impressed with their number talk and how they explained it. Yesterday we learned how to divide with fractions, and it was 2 different strategies. One way, it was with a whole number first. So if we have a whole number and we divide it by a fraction, gives us an answer that ended up being a whole number. And then the other way was starting with a fraction, dividing it by a whole number. And our answer ended up being a fraction. So it was 2 very different strategies, and it had to do with where the fraction was in the equation. So we're going to continue practicing today. Yesterday was day 1. So if it was hard for you yesterday, I understand, and that's okay. This is our first time learning this, especially over, distance learning. It's going to make sense that you might struggle a bit, and it's okay. I want you to know that it's okay. We're going to continue practicing that same skill for a while today as well. And I even made some questions for us similar to yesterday's practice. So we have, again, the same practice together, and then you guys can watch this video again if you need it. Good morning, good morning, Jocelyn. All right, so I made some more questions for us. Get my stuff ready. All right, so here we go. I'm going to try to make sure that I bring this closer. Let's see if this helps. Okay. All right, so I made my 2-column notes with 2 different questions, one for each type of question. So we're going to start with the whole number first. So a whole number divided by a fraction. So my example that I have is pretending that we're going to a birthday party that maybe we're in charge of or trying to help out with. And so going to this birthday party, we were asked to order some ice cream. So we went to the store and we bought 6 pints of ice cream. Now, pints are smaller. They're not the bigger containers of ice cream, but they're the little smaller containers. So imagine if I had to buy 6 pints of that. And then I'm going to serve 1/4 of a pint to each guest. So the question is, how many guests can I serve? Right? So I've drawn out a model because we're going to be modeling in 5th grade when we're dividing with fractions like this. We are showing our work with a model. So yesterday when we learned how to do this, we learned with a model, and then we also learned that there was kind of a shortcut happening if you kind of notice what happened with the numbers. But just so you know, as a 5th grader, we are responsible to also explain with a model, just like a lot of things that we do. So here's my model. I'm just drawing actual like kind of pints looking things, but I could have also drawn this as just plain old rectangles too. So I'm going to call this an area model. And I drew out 6 of them because those are the 6 that I went to the store to buy. And then I'm going to serve 1/4 to each guest. So what I need to do then is I need to cut them all up into fourths, all of them. So I'm going to do that really quick. So I always like to start with my half and then I do my fourths. So I'm going to do that really quick on all of them. Try my best to keep them even. Okay, so I cut them all into fourths. And if you think about each of those fourths represents 1 guest, right? So if I can count them, I can count them in fractions, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. I can do that. I can also count the number of fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that way, right? So I'm going to go ahead and skip count it because I think that would be faster and more efficient because I know there's 4 in this one. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So I got the answer 24. So I could serve 24 guests with that much pint, that many pints of ice cream. So let's think about the math that we just did. Yes, Brian, 4 times 6. The math that we just did, we started with 6 pints. So that's going to be the first number here, and that is the whole number. We have 6 pints. We divided it by 1/4 of a pint because 1/4 of a pint is how much each guest gets. And in 5th grade, we're going to have unit fractions, which means that 1 as a numerator is going to be what we see in our questions, okay? So that kind of a fraction, just keep in mind that that's kind of where we're going to stay as 5th graders is we're going to have unit fractions that we divide with, okay? So 6 divided by 1/4 gave us how many pieces again? 24. And this is the equation that gives us that whole number as our answer. All right, so let's take a look. Let me put it a little closer. So think about the strategy we learned yesterday too with looking at the numbers that are there. Do you see any connections with the numbers we're using? So 6 times 4 is 24. And so then what happened was that we really looked at this to figure that out. But really our model is what's proving our answer. But if you're looking for kind of a quicker way and quicker strategy, this is kind of where you can move to. All right? All right, so that's what happens. And I think that if you're confusing these two strategies, thinking about what are you starting with, right? If you're starting with a whole number, then I'm going to think about, well, my answer is going to probably be in a whole number, right? All right. All right, so Gemma says, so it is when a whole number, it's times a fraction, it's going to always be a whole number. And when it's a fraction times a whole number, it's going to be a fraction. Basically, that's an easier way to think about it, right? And so then let's do one that has a fraction to start with, okay? Let's see how it's different. All right, so let me scoot this over. Okay, so now thinking about brownies. I made some brownies last night for dessert. And so here's an example of my dessert from last night. All right, there is 1/3 of a pan of brownies left over. So we ate the brownies and we only have 1/3 left, okay? And I need to share this with 3 others because in my house I have Mr. Hodges and then I have my own 2 kids, Zoe and Damon, right? So how much will we each get if we're looking at just that 1/3 left? But P.S., I want some too. Jocelyn, I'll get to your question in a little bit, okay? So I want some too. So I know that in the question, it's telling us that we started with a fraction. So we have starting with 1/3, but I need to share with 3 people. But that doesn't include me yet, right? If I'm saying I have to share with 3 people, that's 3 other people. Plus me would be 4 people, right? Okay, so I'm thinking that as I start making a model. So I'm gonna make a model of my tray of brownies. So here's my tray of brownies, and I need to start with my 1/3. So I'm gonna make this tray cut into thirds. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw 2 lines, the best I can, spacing them out equally, trying to make them equal. And so thinking about 1/3 would be, let's just say that this section over here is what was left over from the brownies, okay? So let's just say 2/3 we ate, 1/3 is left. So the idea is we have to share that with 4 people. So how much of a piece do I get, or each person get, including me? I love brownies. Okay, so then I'm gonna look at this. I've already cut it into thirds. Now I'm gonna think about cutting that into, or dividing it. Let me say it that way. I'm gonna divide it into 4 because 4 of us want it. So then I'm gonna go horizontally and start cutting this up. And I'm gonna cut it into 4 slices. So I'm gonna go like this. And I've cut it into 4 slices. I'm gonna go ahead and extend that as if all of them were cut that way. And then I'm gonna look at this and think about how much do I get? I'm just gonna think about one person, so let me just think about me. So I'm gonna get this piece right there. That piece is 1 piece, but if they were all cut that way, out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 12. So I get 1/12 of a piece. Okay? Let's think about the equation that we just did. But let me show you the model real quick closer. All right. So let's think about what we did. When I think about what we started with, we didn't start with a whole sheet of brownies. We started with 1/3 of a pan, our sheet of brownies. Okay, so we're starting with 1/3. We're going to share that or divide that into 4 because there's 4 people. Sometimes your word problems you might see might try to trick you. Don't get tricked, where if they want to say that you are sharing with someone and they want to include the person too, don't be tricked and think about dividing it only by 3. Be mindful and think about what actually is happening. That's why I put in there, P.S. I want some too. Okay. All right. So we divide it by 4. And then my answer I get 1 piece out of 12. Okay. So let's think about what happened here with the numbers, right? So I'm at 1/3 divided by 4, and I got 1/12. Do you see a connection, or what do you notice about the numbers in this? So to me, I'm looking at a similar way that we saw this first one, that we can look at this denominator, we look at this whole number, and that's how we can get our denominator for our answer, right? And like Gemma said, that a nice way to remember how to differentiate between the two, we're starting with the whole number, we ended up with a whole number. We started with a fraction, we ended with a fraction, okay? Thinking about what you're starting with will really help you know which strategy you're going to need to use. Okay? If it's helpful, I can take a picture of this and post it for you. I did that yesterday too, and I'm not sure if you found it or saw it. I'm gonna really quick go to my own slides. It's unfortunate that in YouTube I can't show you my screen. I wish there was, and I might start looking into how I can do that, but I'm looking at Monday, which was yesterday's assignments, and there is a little picture of the poster that I made yesterday for us, or together. So yesterday's poster that looked like this, I went ahead and took a picture of it and I put it into your slide. So if you want to see yesterday's, that's there. And you would just click on it and it makes it larger. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one because I think that might be helpful for you to see this if you need to see it again. And I can link it in there for you as well. Okay. Are there any questions about this? You can type it in for me. before I move on? All right, looks like we're okay. Hi, Jasleen, good morning. So if you're chiming in now, I recommend you might need to re-watch this after we're done, okay? So you guys can see what we did in the beginning of the video. All right, so now I wanted to, before I do our number talk, I want to kind of tell you a couple of things. That tomorrow, so like announcements wise, tomorrow, instead of doing YouTube live like this, we're going to have our Zoom meeting. Same time. I'm going to be sitting right here just like I am today, but tomorrow, same time, but we're going to have the Zoom meeting so we can actually see each other. And so the link that you'll need is already in Wednesday's slide for tomorrow. And so I hope to see all of us there. And it's going to be, I'm going to attempt tomorrow to do a Kahoot. So I'm kind of excited because we've done Kahoots before, or maybe a couple, right? But I'm excited to see how it works out when we're doing it like in a Zoom meeting. I think that'll be really fun. And then we're going to also do a number talk, but live, like with your faces. And we're going to do this tomorrow. And then I want to go over some questions that you might have. And yeah, that's it. And so then you'll be able to start your work tomorrow after the Zoom call. Okay. But for today, we're going to go ahead and go with our number talk. And yesterday, yes, thank you, Brian. Put your real name for our Zoom meeting tomorrow, so we don't have any people joining us that shouldn't be. We had a number talk yesterday that was super easy. And when I watched your flip grids, I was so happy to see all your faces, but I watched your flip grids and I'm thankful for all the strategies you guys shared. And I know it was really easy. And it was supposed to be easy. And so the reason for that is that today's, I wanted to build on yesterday's answer. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging. And I'm going to remind you that a number talk is done in your mind. You're not using a piece of paper. And so also when you're explaining it in your flip grid, you're not using a piece of paper. You're just using, you're verbalizing it. Or if you wanted to get fancy, you can try to not have your face on it if you really want to. And you can try to use a digital, like I saw a couple people do yesterday, and sharing their strategy using the digital tools on Flipgrid. So it's really up to you. But I'm going to recommend not using a piece of paper to solve it. Okay. And Jasleen, I'll go over the assignments for today also after the number talk. Okay. All right. So yesterday's question was 25 times 10, which obviously is 250. And I knew you guys would know the answer. It was easy peasy. And that's what even a lot of you guys said. Today's is going to be similar, but that 25 is going to stay there, but the 10 is not. So your number talk for today, this is going to be what you respond in Flipgrid. The same Flipgrid. We're just adding our videos. It's going to be a long list of it eventually, but we're going to add our videos to that Flipgrid. And so your Flipgrid will be where you respond to this question I'm about to write. All right. So we're going to start with 25, but instead of times 10, like yesterday, it's going to be 25 times 12. So don't say the answer right now. But when you start working on it in Flipgrid and you're going to explain how you got it, you can use the strategy of knowing what you had yesterday and then adding on to know how to solve it for 12 instead of 10. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to give you an answer. So that is your number talk for today, 25 times 12. Okay? All right. Let me think, what else? Okay, so your assignment for today after you do your number talk is going to be pretty fast, I think, because it's just going to be 2 pages from here. And so I'm going to flip to, it's kind of like a paper, well, it's all paper, but it's like it's not a colored page. So it's page 360A and B. And again, if you don't have this booklet, then you can always use the one that's online. I linked on it, or linked it into our slides. So if you don't have this, you have a digital copy. And so it's similar practice that we did yesterday. So you're going to have this page, and then you're going to go to the back. And the top 2 questions as well. And then the bottom 4 are spiral reviews. So not necessarily division of fractions on the bottom there. Okay. So that's your assignment for today for math after you do your Flipgrid. I also put in an iReady lesson because the iReady lesson that I am asking you guys to do today, it's called Understanding Division with Unit Fractions. So when you go into iReady, you'll see probably a lot, no, not probably, you will see a lot of assignments. So the only one I'm asking you to do today is the Understanding Division with Unit Fractions, because it gives you that video and visual of what I was showing you when we did this. So it's additional practice and seeing it and interacting with it on iReady. So iReady, let me go back up. Flipgrid, you have your iReady practice with a video, and then you have just 2 quick pages in here. Okay? And I was really excited because these pages, I saw 8 students yesterday take a picture of it and they put it into their slides. In Classroom, I posted some slides for you to actually turn in your work. And so I wanted to see how you were doing with that. And so that if you don't have the book, then you can also, some people took a picture of their notes that they took as they went through the problems too. So either way, but thank you for those who actually posted your assignments. Some people that weren't necessarily on the call here or on the video with us here did that. So that was great. Thank you. Let me look through our notes really quick. Jocelyn, you have a question about where. Are you wondering where the homework is on the slide? So the work that's on the slides, it tells you exactly what I'm asking you to do. So you have your Flipgrid, you have your iReady lesson, and then number 2, Go Math book, which is that book. So if you think about it like must-dos, I'm giving you 3 must-dos, basically. Okay? All right. I think that's everything. I got turn-in directions for that. I will say, yesterday I was kind of noting how many views this video had versus how many views the reading video had. And this one was amazing, the YouTube Live, because I had like 80 views, which is great, which means to me, or says to me that you guys were watching it with me, but then some of you guys maybe needed to watch it again. Possibly parents were watching it too, which is great too. And then I noticed on the reading, there was only a few people. Now the reading video that I linked for you, maybe you didn't know where to find it. So yesterday's work was just a simple, for reading. Yesterday's work was a simple watch a video and then respond to the 2 questions. And I have to tell you, no one did that. I had to kind of reach out to a couple people in Dojo to remind them, but no one did it. So I was like, well, maybe my directions weren't very clear. So I wanted to take a second to tell you about reading really quick. And then I'm going to be making a reading video and I'm going to link it for you. So we're going to try this again. Okay. Jillian, where do you find your work? In slides. They are like an orangish background on the first slide. They're called distance learning activities. So in Google Classroom is where you're going to find that. Yes, Jaslene, you do all of the questions on the math pages. Thank you. Okay, so for reading today, I am planning to read a text to you from this. So if you wanted to follow along with me later, after you do your math, I'm going to read a text in here to you. Your purpose for today's work is you're going to do wacko words. So there's going to be some vocabulary words in the text that we're reading that you're going to do some deep digging to figure out what the meaning of those words are. That's going to be the purpose of today's lesson. Okay? Never mind. That's tomorrow. Because we've never read it. I'm still going to read this to you. The purpose of today's lesson is main idea and detail. I apologize. So that document that you're going to write your main idea and details in is the same document that you were supposed to have written in yesterday after watching the video. Okay, so reading. When you go into reading, in the directions it says for today, Unit 7 book, read and annotate page 4 and 5. So you're going to actually go to page 4 and 5. I have notes all over mine. Okay, but just these 2 pages. And you're going to write the main idea in the margin, so both pages. And then you're going to open up your Google Doc. Now, I linked in your slides the questions you need to answer. I linked it in there because I want you to see what the page looks like. However, you're going to go into Google Classroom and there's a post with all kinds of documents. There's a lot of them because I just put them all in there just so it's all one big post. I know, Gemma, that you thought that we read this yesterday. I know a lot of people did. So that tells me that I didn't give you good enough directions yesterday with reading, okay? So if you already read it, you're ahead of us, okay? But I am going to read this to you later on too. So if you chime in again around 10:30, I'll have the little button under reading that says YouTube. If you click on it, it'll be taking you to the video that I'm going to make for you. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you and you're going to do the main idea, write it in the margin. Then you're going to go into Google Classroom and you're going to find the document that you need that is titled Unit 7 Opener Questions. And you might need to, I know I looked on Damon's, but you might need to like hover over each document to see what it's called. Because I think on Damon's it said like his full name, his full name, his full name. And then after that was the title of document. So I hovered over each one until I actually saw the one I needed and you click on it. So Unit 7 Opener Questions is what you want to find. And so since no one did the questions yesterday, number 1 and 2, they're very easy. It's just what do you already know about conflicts in the nation? And then number 2 is what questions do you have? Now today, layer in main idea and details. So it's just, you're going to finish up that page, then push turn in. And I would really hope that you do that today just so I can go in at 1 o'clock and go and give you some feedback about your work. Okay. So to find that video at around 10:30, it's in your slides. That YouTube little button underneath reading does nothing now, but around 10:30, it should be ready for you to click and open up my video. All right. Do you guys have any other questions? Are we okay? All right, so I want to say thank you for chiming in again with me. I really like this. I feel like this is helping me get in a routine. I think you guys too might enjoy this because you get to hear my voice and maybe this feels more normal. We are going to do this every day with the exception of Wednesday because Wednesday is a Zoom meeting instead. And then Fridays is like every Friday you get the day off. So Monday through Thursday is when we get to work together. Wednesdays will be a Zoom call, but the other 3 days that we work together will be like this. All right. I miss you guys. I wish we could go into a classroom and learn together, but this will work for now. All right. Love you guys. I will see you guys in my next video around 10:30. And then I will see you guys tomorrow in our Zoom meeting. Good luck. Go to Flipgrid. 25 times 12. Ready, go.